dive into the crew. Now, we did talk about this a little bit yesterday while we reviewed all the Spiel des Jahres nominees from all three categories with two of the jury members yesterday. But let's assume maybe people haven't seen that. They know nothing about the crew, which, excuse me, actually, the search for the ninth planet. So why don't you just dive in and explain for the uninitiated the eloquence and beauty of this game?
Well, I'm such a huge fan of this game for many reasons, and one reason is because as a kid, my family and we weren't board gamers. We weren't the hobby board gamers, but we played cards and we played hearts for hours and hours. And I love that you could we played it so often, but we were still excited every time we played it. The crew, it's in that same world of a trick-taking game. And I just love that we've got so many good reviews of it, and I don't want to like single any of them out, but some of them come up with some great catchphrases about how like this is not the game that you would be teaching your grandma, but the one that your grandma can teach you. I love that because it is a trick-taking game, which has been so popular for so long, but is kind of it's in the hobby world, but I feel like this one really brought something new and fresh. And that's why it has kind of taken off so dramatically. All right.
Yeah, so I personally have taught this to people who don't even know what the phrase trick taking means. And this has been a great introduction saying, okay, well, now you've played a trick taking game. Like, oh, did I? Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah. Beth, did we play this at BGG.CONline last year? And we did a great job, right?
We did a great job. In fact, that's been my single best run of this game to date. And I walked over, and he was like, oh, we need a third. Will you play? I was like, no, I'm too tired. And because it was you're like, come on. I was like, all right, fine. And then 11 rounds, not a single mistake. Yeah. That was after I walked away playing with my husband and Eric Martin saying, no, I'm too tired. I'm getting too grumpy. And then what did I do? I immediately went and sat down and played with you and did awesome. So
yeah, that was really an epic game there for sure.
Yeah.
So trick taking for those who don't know, and I don't want to get into a whole bunch of details, but everyone is dealt a hand of cards from the big deck there, and on your turn you're going to play a hand from your card. Everyone in the around the table will play one card, and depending on which card you played, you will have won that trick. Typically, and as is in the case with this game, the highest number, you'll notice all those cards have colors and numbers, so the highest number in the originally started color is going to win the hand. So let's say that the pink suit started the hand that's out there right now. It looks like there's a 9, and so the 9 would have taken that, right? That's the core of a trick-taking game. And generally, you're either going to want to take it or not take the trick, depending on whether that's good or bad for you as an individual player. But what's fresh about the crew is that it's completely cooperative and that you're working together to make sure that the right person wins the right trick. I mentioned before that I played hearts with my family all the time. And when I went to Essen and got a copy of this, I took it home to my family at Christmas, and we played this game and just had the best time. It's so easy to pick up because we played so many games of hearts. It was so immediate to just like get the little like nuances of the game and how like you can communicate not only with your communication token, which is a brilliant part of this game, but also in like what card you play at what time, and yeah, there's so many small details, and I think that's why Eric Martin likes the game so much as well, is that you can really dive into just the most minute things.
Well, there's 2 points I want to make sure we hit upon, which is, let's definitely talk about how that communication token works, because that's something I think is totally unique with the crew, and also to make sure we talk about the logbook as well.
Yes. Thank you. Obviously, I'm like a little dog when it comes to this game. I get distracted, and I'm like, oh, let's talk about this. Okay, so communication is perhaps, I would say, the most brilliant part about this. Like, making it cooperative is cool, but the communication token is really key. So everyone's going to get one of those helmets down there, a little token that's got a red and a green side. And so every mission, and we'll get into that a little bit later, every mission you're going to be able to communicate once. But what communication means is you can take a card from your hand and play it out in front of you, face up, so everyone can see it, which is great information. But not only that, you can use the little helmet token to place it on the card. And if you put it at the top of the card, that means that this is the highest card of that color in your hand, whereas at the bottom means it's the lowest card of that color in your hand, and the middle means it's the only card of that color in your hand. This is super valuable information as you try to determine who should be getting which tricks. Which leads me into the logbook. The logbook, it's got 50 missions. What a mission is basically a goal or a task. So the first one is really simple. Essentially, you have a mini deck of cards that replicates the big deck of cards, minus the rocket trump cards. But one of those cards is going to get revealed, and one player is going to need to win that card in a trick. That's it. Once the designated player has won, in that case, the 7 green card, then you've cooperatively as a team won. And you move on to the next one, where now you have 2 cards. So you'll see they get a little bit harder and they progress as the game continues. And it's got some really great mechanics in there as well, because it's not just about taking certain numbers. Because one of my favorites is the 5th mission, where one of the crew members,
my favorite too,
and they can't take any tricks at all. So you as a team are working together to make sure your sick crew member doesn't take any tricks. I just love that because it really gets everyone to work together. You go through the whole thing. Yeah. So it's really
as you progress across those 50 missions, they get harder and harder and harder and harder. One of the things we were talking about yesterday is, unlike a game like The Mind, where you have to do the challenges in order, and as soon as you make a mistake, you have to reboot back to the beginning. In this, if you wanted to start at mission 30, yeah, fine. If you just want to replay mission 30 over and over and over again, fine.
Yeah, so
and
I love the campaign idea where you can actually take, there's a little space there in the logbook, because it's a logbook, for you to write down how many attempts it took you to do each one of those missions. And at the end of the 50 missions, you'll have kind of like a score, and you can compare that against what other people have done. But when I play, I just play the ones that I like. I pick and choose, and I like that it's, pretty free to do that.
One of the things you had pointed out to me when we played at BGG.CON that I didn't realize too is that if you lay out all the cards of one color in order, 1 through 9, they form one dioramic image, and every card also has a little in-joke on it, either geek culture, science culture. So that's something, if you just want to mess around with the cards and try to figure out what's a little joke on that one, that was something I didn't realize until you told me.
Yeah, I love that. And it's, it doesn't actually make the game any better or worse, but I love the attention to detail.
Yeah.
And also a nod to the culture.
Yeah. Is there any plans to, obviously the game is in German and English right now. Is there any plans to translate into other languages, specifically Spanish?
I believe so. Yes. I don't have specific dates on that, but I'm almost positive that that's going to happen.
As we're just in our last couple minutes here, it's not, and if people have any other questions about the crew, please, continue to ask. We're just going to, kind of broaden that to other Cosmos tiles as well. I wanted just to highlight that the English-speaking audience is very excited that the Target expansion is now going to be released in English.
Oh, wrong way. Yeah. Yeah, I'm also very excited. And I want to thank all of the people who have emailed me, and literally hundreds of people have emailed us to ask for that expansion. And those comments and those requests really do mean something to us. We take them serious. So thank you. I'm also excited for it to come out.
I'm just reading the question for the benefit of everyone that we have at the bottom of our screen is back to the crew. Is there any plans for there to be additional missions outside of the original 50 that are currently in the logbook?
So this is pretty cool. Due to the pandemic, the German office has made a bunch of extra missions available, and it's cool that you're visiting a moon in surrounding Mars, and those are available in German right now, and we're translating them into English as we speak. So those should be available very soon. And there's 3 cards, and each card has 3 missions, so an extra 9 missions. I also just got confirmation that yes, Devir Games is doing the crew in Spanish, and Yellow is doing it in French. There's also going to be Dutch, Italian, Japanese, Korean, and most East European languages.
All right. I think that should cover a pretty good percentage.
Yeah, it's pretty popular.
Question from Chatty Boy, which is our very own Chad Kreisen, of how did you get so awesome?
I learned by watching you guys.
Oh, good answer. Nikki actually has very nicely put out one whole rack of cards there. So if people want to get a little sneak peek of what the panoramic looks like, that's one complete image of 1 through 9 all in one color. You'll have to get the game to look at all the little jokes that are hidden on each card. But yeah, I think that attention to detail also really struck me as well.
So the second printing, which will be available soon, they've kind of highlighted the numbers a little bit more because we heard that some people had a hard time seeing the numbers, but the panorama is still going to be there.
And then just to kind of wrap us up too, was there any, you're continuing to put out packs of Exit, the game, which is your escape room adventure games. So are those continuing sort of on the schedule that you've maintained for the last couple of years?
Yes, and they're incredibly popular right now, and it's interesting to see how, as we produce these games, the original ones like the Abandoned Cabin and Pharaoh's Tomb are still doing very well for us. So happy with those. The 4 that are coming out this year: Exit, Stormy Flight, which you can see there. There's Theft on the Mississippi, which is one of my personal favorites because I like, similar to Dead Man on the Orient Express, kind of the solving a mystery. There's also, so those 2 are out right now. And then coming out later this year, we have the Enchanted Forest, which is cool because it's like grim fairy tales come to life. And then we also have the Cemetery of the Night, which I'm excited about because I love, the whole like lore and tombs and that kind of thing. It's cool. Looks cool.
All right. Well, Tom, I really want to thank you for giving us a little tour of all sorts of things coming out from Cosmos. So the crew and the Liberation of Reedsburg and some of the new Exit titles coming out this year. And for currently and My City, also another SDJ nominee. And for, at the moment, having the best outfit of any of the presenters we've had so far.
Well, thank you, Beth. Thanks so much for your time and thanks for putting this all on. This has been great. You guys are doing such a good job.
Thank you. I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.